I need to be better at my anger management, sometimes fair in your head because you're just unhappy about something and then you're going and showing it somewhere else. But in reality, other people don't know what you are going through.
Hi guys, it's Lenora and welcome back to the Pursuit of Progress. I'm a person that's gone through different transitions in my life, as I'm sure you have too. And this podcast is all about learning from others who have also gone through different parts of experiences in their life. And I'm always fascinated with how they are able to overcome different obstacles and challenges. So I hope as you are joining me, you're ready to pop because this is the Pursuit of Progress. Now, today's guest is very, very special because he's a person that I get to sit down with almost every day. He's someone that knows me and probably I would say I know him pretty well too.
Sure not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, okay, before I get into saying who the person is, this person is
a retired professional rugby athlete who holds the record as the longest playing Malaysian athlete for 9 years in Japan's Rugby 1 League.
And then he is also the only Malaysian athlete to play rugby in the US MLR, and he has conquered all kinds of obstacles in his life to bring where he is today. So please welcome to the show my husband, Duke Krishnan. People will know him also by so many different names.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. So how would you actually would you like to say wifey, or would you just like to be normal?
Hey, keep it professional here.
Okay, so the man has said so already. Okay, let's first start with at the very beginning. You've gone through so many things already.
Yeah.
So if you could describe your childhood in one word, what would it be and why?
I always wonder why am I different than everybody else? And all my friends are very shorter than me most of the time, much shorter than me, and I will be like 5 years old and 5 feet. So I'm always wonder like why am I always different than everybody else? And that puts me aside. Like I was always in my own bubble because I don't have a team to join. Nobody fitting my description, like nobody fitting in my, and I always try to fit in with them. So I would say like kind of miserable, but at the same time, yeah, with the love and passion showed by my family, I always feel like there's nothing wrong with me. It's just I'm the one who doesn't find what makes me different at that time.
You know, if you don't mind me, if I were to actually say that, if you could put one word, I would say it's unique.
Now I'm thinking about it, then I feel like, yeah, I always been this special kid who had a lot of energy, had a lot of athletic in him, but don't know where to direct that energy to. Coming from a family who have no sports background, my family has been always supporting me in sports or in studies and everything. Like I tried hockey and they're like, okay, they buy me hockey. And when I say I want to do the football and they put me in a football academy. So they've always been supporting me because they see that I am very athletic, I have a lot of energy. So that's helped me to find that I have this athletic in me. But the one thing that I don't have is principle and value at that time at very young age. So I grow up being very athletic, but at the same time, I'm trying to fit in with the community that I'm around.
Yeah.
So my energy was spread around and yeah, I don't have one direction where I'm going to go.
Right.
Until I found this principle and values.
True rugby. Would you say that was
I
it?
will say through sports because any sports will teach you these values and principles. Rugby did for me. Rugby welcomed me with open arms. Rugby, what I'm saying is like the community, the support, and rugby don't demand much. Yeah, you have to be in a certain height, weight, also whatever shape you are, they just welcome you. Like, okay, come in and play. and that's fit in for me because I always been the kid who miserable, like I told you earlier. So I'm using the word a lot. But so for me, I when I want to go and join somewhere, I always see what I don't have. And rugby doesn't give any option to me because rugby don't have any discussion. Like you have to be slim, fast, fit. They're just like, you want to play rugby? Come join us. So I just fit right in.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could pinpoint one memory from your childhood, what childhood memory story that you think shaped who you are today?
Most of the time, the promises that I made to my parents.
Oh,
Yeah.
like how?
Like my father always liked to put me in the front of the seat in the motorbike and take me anywhere he go. And there is one time we are waiting in the traffic light and just this one car just stopped next to us. And my father just sitting on the motorbike, and then he's like, hey, when you grow up, would you get me a car like this? And me being young child, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I will get you one. And then my mother, most of the time, is like, she will be like, hey, when you grow up, would you take care of us? So it comes to Indian family. There's always the boy have the responsibility to take care of the family. So she will be always ask me like, hey, once you grow up, you have family and all, would you still take care of us? I'm like, for sure, I will take care of you guys. But that's put a lot of responsibility in my shoulder at that age too. I'm like, I have to grow up. I have to become something so I can take care of my family.
So you say that story shaped responsibility, the value of responsibility in
Yeah.
you. Okay. And when you were younger, right? What was the first big dream you had for yourself? I mean, didn't have to be rugby, it could have been anything. And did you believe that you could achieve it at that time?
I always admire to be an athlete, superstar athlete.
So you just wanted to be a superstar lah.
I always watch this David Beckham during that time. He's coming up, Rooney, superstar athlete lifestyle. I'm like, man, that's cool. Like I see them in the Pepsi ads. I admire the lifestyle, but I didn't see how can I get there. Or maybe I don't see the possibilities of how can I get there or anything. And as I grow older with the life coming to understanding, and then I'm like, okay, like I told you, like the responsibility in my shoulder. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find a job so I can support the family. I'm gonna keep my life straight. And I played rugby at 19 years old during my high school. That's why I get to know what is rugby. But I was not really involved in rugby at all. And after that, life happens. And 19 years old, I come across again with rugby. And that's where I really committed into playing rugby. And it was not even like supporting for whatever I want, but it gives me a platform where I can stay and work. So play rugby and work. That was my first idea. Along the way, while I committed to play rugby, I started rugby have these core values. So with the core values and with the good circle around me, I started to see life more than just finding living paycheck to paycheck. So my mindset has changed. Once I grow 30, I want to have a life like this. I started to more like a manifest of my life. And by believing, by seeing people around me, being involved with them, and honestly, I'll tell you that my life has changes slowly, take one step at a time, and growth. Like I always looking for what can I learn from whatever I do, and that helps me to getting better every day.
So when you said that you dreamt of being a superstar athlete, and at what point through all that, right? Because you did so many different sports as well, but rugby was the main one. Then when did you actually believe that, yes, you could be a superstar as athlete?
Even now, I don't believe that I am
Still
a
don't believe that.
superstar athlete.
Are you sure? I don't think that's true in the house.
Because, you are superstar to someone else's eyes, not to yourself. Because you know what gets you here. So for me, to my eyes, I'm still the boy who are trying to do better every day. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I have done is past, but what am I doing with what I have done for the future? That's where makes me so I'm still want to be the superstar that I dream of at a young age.
Okay, so that is with when you finally became, for some would say that you're already a superstar. So now let's go with your athlete and professional career time. What's something about being a pro athlete that no one talks about?
I think being a professional athlete is a very lonely road. It will be very selfish most of the time because you will be focusing on yourself a lot. Most of the athletes, when they explaining, you can see that some point they come into a place where it's everything about me. What am I doing? What have I do? What have I done? And everything. And that's not something bad. Being selfish is not bad because you have all the good intention, and you cannot, you cannot pour from an empty can. So you have to fill yourself up. Then you will be capable of doing the good things that you wanted to do. Like for people who not involved in sports, they still want to do a lot of stuff, but they always thinking about what can I give than how to make myself capable of giving. So comes to athletes, professional, I will say like it's always about what I can do, so I will be capable to do something. So most of the athletes, they won't share this because it sounds selfish, lonely, and everything. But I think that's where you started to question yourself, like, okay, what can I do that will makes me better than what I am today?
So when you say lonely, does that mean you don't even get to talk about it with your teammates, or it's just not possible to do that?
You can talk about it with your teammates, but the points, for me, I believe like the point will not make sense to you because it's just you and yourself. Maybe your teammates have different ideas of whatever me going through. And most of the time when the athletes go into this solitude mode, most of the time they will avoid to talk to anybody and just surround themselves by just nobody and just themselves. And most of the time we can find solution when we get to that level.
Since we're talking about thoughts, right? Was there ever a moment where you thought, I'm not good enough to be here? Like, say you have already gone into Yamaha time, right? Okay, for those who don't know, he played in Japan for 6 years with Yamaha Jubilo.
Yes.
And then after that, he went on to Hino Red Dolphins. That's for another 3 years. So during the time when you first entered into Japan from being in Malaysia, was there a point that you thought, I'm not good enough to be here? And how did you handle that?
Not only at the first, even after my 6th year, I still like, what did I did right to deserve all this? And the support that you're getting from home, from in Japan, and people are like, bro, you are in Japan, that you are well known in Japan. Like people in Japan was talking to us. From a boy go from Sungai Petani to end up in Japan and being well known in Japan, it's like a dream life. And sometimes I can come into a reality and ask myself, like, what did I did to deserve all this, this dream life? Yeah, it's sometimes it's like it's just unbelievable. It's like it's not about what you have done; it's about what are you doing now.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, so I need to keep working on my routines, right? Most of the time, my routines is the one who shaped me to who am I become in the future. It's not what I have done before. So most of the time we end up on thinking like I don't deserve this because I am this. I like 5 years ago I did this, and you just stuck in the past. It's more importantly, it's about what are you doing today is what gonna shape you in the future.
You have this thing that we've talked about it, so which is the win mentality.
Yes. This is during my playing time. This one of person, his name is Chris. And then he was talking to us, and he was talking about how athletes handle their mental and how what's helped them to perform most of the time, and when they have a setback, how they go through the setback. And then he come up with this words called win. And then he asked, like, do you guys understand what is this win means? And everybody like, of course, we are athletes. We know what is win
Just
means.
get the
like,
W.
We want to, get the W. We want to win. We want to win everything. And then it's like, yes, that's normally win, but this win stands for WIN. It stands for what's important now. So every time when you go through any setbacks, or for you rugby players, you guys can give away a penalties or yellow cards or red cards. And if you have this win mentality with you, you always will think about what's important now, where it will just take everything off, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have played like this, I should have prepared more well. Other than thinking all that, you will think about what I should do now that will put me in a better place in the future.
And you can use this also in any part of your life as well, right?
So I took that deep in, like I just planted it in my head, like not only in the rugby, even in my everyday lifestyle. If anything goes bad or anything I did that get me the setback, I will always think about what's important now, what I should do now that will clear my head or that will help me to put me in a better foot.
And that helps you get focus and clarity, right?
I get, most of the time I manage to come back. Sometimes I don't even realize it. This is a real thing happened yesterday.
Oh, okay. Elaborate.
So yesterday I was running a program at one of a famous company, and they come up with a slogan called Dare to Win. And Dare to Win, it's so many content that I can come up with, but I don't have any clarity. And the night before this program come, we have changed some structure, my presentation has changed, and I got all chaos in my head. And the night I was sleeping, I was thinking, what am I going to talk about when it comes to Dare to Win? Because I need to come up with some content where I can elaborate to the participants. And that morning, I wake up early. I was not in a good mood because my head is like keep going back to that. Okay, what are you going to say on that slide?
Okay, I remember that not good mood thing.
And I just wake up and then I come outside. I thought like, okay, I can go and search for it or read a book and I can find it. So during this time, I was trying to find, because it's just clutter in my head. I don't have anything structured. And I was just stop thinking about what I need to search, what I do. And then I have some things that I haven't done. Like I put my shoes to be washed and my laundries I haven't done yet. And I drop everything that thinking about how can I find the content. I just start doing, like, I just go and clean my shoes. While I'm doing that, clearing up all the mess, cleaning my shoes, doing my laundries, just by doing what's important at that time, or just by clearing the mess in the house, it helps me structure my thoughts.
So that the cleaning process help you get the small wins.
So yes, you can say it that way because, that's something that I supposed to be done, but I haven't done yet because I was busy with creating like my slides, my presentation and everything. But the small things that I'm missing, it's compounding, and then it gives me the chaos in my head. There's so many things that I have to be done.
Okay.
So while I'm cleaning my shoe, cleaning the house, doing the laundries, it's all small things, which doesn't make sense why I need to do that to do my presentation. But those are counts as a small wins of the day. It just clear up your thoughts. And it helps you to structure what do you want.
Okay. I'm going to make a mental note that I'm going to make you do more cleaning in the house because it seems to clear your thoughts, which is good. Still coming back to your pro athlete life. You already mentioned on how you handle when you thought like you didn't deserve or you weren't good enough. So I would relate it back where it's coming back to what's important now.
Yes.
And now, okay, I want to ask about the hard parts when you were a pro athlete. What's a loss or failure that still stings when you think about it? Could it have been a red card, or it could have been something that happened when you were playing? What was the hardest thing during your professional life, and how did you come out of it?
That's one thing that I still not happy with is that, of course, the red card that I get it, and I know I did it, because if I get a red card for something that accident, I will accept it, and I'm like, okay, it's a accident happened, but this thing is I did it. I really not happy with what's going around outside of the field, and I take it in the field, and I was just going hard in it, and then somebody trying to tackle me, and I'm trying to hurt that person, and it's clearly can see that my intention is to hurt that person, and it's got me the red card, and that was my last year of with that club. And still, when I think about it, I'm still like not very happy about my action. But that gives me a point where I need to control my anger management. Like I need to be better at my anger management. Sometimes it sounds like fair in your head because you are just unhappy about something, and then you're going and showing it somewhere else. But in reality, other people don't know what you are going through. And not everybody, the world is not around you. So you need to be more aware of your actions, aware of your temper, and learn how to control your temper most of the time.
So would you say it's more of understanding self-awareness?
Self-awareness. So from that incident, it's more about self-awareness. Like now I'm looking at it, I'm like, nah, man, that's not the man that I want to be. And that's not the man that I want my children to grow up to see.
And with that, what's the hardest truth? I'm sure with all the things you've gone through in sports in all your years, what is the hardest truth you had to accept about yourself during your career? Like, for example, just now was the anger thing.
Yeah, I'm like very high temper person. But sometimes I see the high temper has helped me in a certain places. Like sometimes when I get upset, I just keep it to myself and show it, go to the gym or like go and do some workout by myself. So I think having that high temper, it's like a natural nature of human being, but aligning the temper, the energy, to understand where to align the energy, it's very important. So I'm not happy with something going around and outside of the field. I could have aligned that energy somewhere else, do extra workout, prepare myself to do well, and see that direction where am I aligning that energy, that's where goes the result.
Would you say that what's the one tool that you've taken away from that self-reflection when you have that anger emotion? Yeah. How do you translate it into something that's positive?
Even in my program, I talk to people a lot. Like everybody have a lot of energy. It can be fear, it can be anger, it can be sad. Only by learning how to aligning that energy in the right place, any setback can become your fuel.
Okay. So we've passed your athlete life. Now let's go into something more realistic, which is now transitioning out of pro into where you are now. We've discussed this a few times, but was there a point when you came out? Did you already know that you were going to retire?
Yes. 2-3 years before I actually retired, I already preparing to retire. And I always had these thoughts in my head, like, how am I giving back to rugby, especially in Malaysia, because all the kids that following me during my professional, and they're asking me like, hey bro, I want to be like you, I want to play like you, how can I do, what can I do? So I always had this idea that I want to start an academy and come back. Like I retired last year, 2023. I announced my retirement in 2024, and July I managed to open my own platform called RSC Rugby Academy in Royal Selangor Club. Yeah.
Okay. Did it scare you when you knew you were going to leave rugby?
I kind of losing identity doesn't scare me, but I'm like, okay, what am I if I'm not a rugby player? That comes into my head. And whatever else, like I'm telling myself, like people started to calling me, hey bro, are you going for the coaching? Are you going for this, that?
Did it
I'm like,
annoy you when
it
people kept
annoys
asking?
me most of the time. I'm like, I'm not a coach, man. I'm not this, man. But and then it takes time for you to accept that you are not that player, the main guy in the field anymore, because that's all you know. It takes some time. It took me like almost a year plus to understand that, okay, I'm not a rugby player anymore. Now I'm more into coaching, more into guiding, more into train people into performance. So I need to find more. So I'm starting from zero again. So starting from zero again is another fear, like fearful things, because you know that what are the things that mostly your mind is always trying to protect you. And then they're like, you're starting from zero again. They're like, what, you're starting your life from zero again, learning something new. But just because always believe in growth, like learning, getting better every day, not only in sports, even in a real life, like business or anything, it gives me that stability of like, it's okay. I'm going to learn every day. I'm going to get better every day. And then one day I'm going to perfect it. I'm going to master this.
So that took away the fear and
of-
confusion of the loss of identity just by going,
Yes.
okay, I can learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. And what's the one thing you lost when you stopped playing? And what's the one thing you've gained?
I lost my solitude, solitude space most of the time.
Okay.
And I gained a lot of social skill. I started to talk to a lot of people. I started to bounce off ideas, brainstorming with people, meeting new people, building my network, and open my vision into looking at what I need to do to who I need to meet, who can help me get me what I want.
If I had met you after you had retired, say I didn't know you back then, right? And I
Okay.
meet you now after you're done with pro life, what kind of person would I meet?
You will meet a person who is ambitious, a lot of like he want to do a lot of things with sports, and potentially a boss.
Okay. A boss. Okay. How do you want to be remembered? Not as an athlete, but as a person.
I don't know how do I want to be remembered by everybody, but I just don't want to be forgotten.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to ask something even more personal. How would you want your kid to remember you?
I just want them to be proud of me. That's it.
Okay. Little one knows. Okay, this one we've spoken about before, which was which one scares you more, failure or success?
For me, the success scares me more,
Why?
because anybody can be success one time. To keep up with it is what gives you a lot of responsibility and a lot of hard works, because the expectation from outside and everything is totally different, the pressure and the responsibilities.
So keeping it.
So yeah,
the
keeping
hard
up
part.
with the success, it fears me more than failure, because I know every time when I fail, I'm gonna be just better than last time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Anyway, I really like the few things that we touched on that I think were good tools. Number one was the WIN, what's
Yes.
important now. And there was another one that you mentioned, which I found really helpful for anyone coming out, realigning your energy.
Yeah. That's very useful tools, I would say.
One last one, right? For any athlete who's going through a transition just like you, from pro to workforce or everyday life, what would your one quick advice be?
Don't rush the process, because these athletes, they always have this tendency of want to see the result quick. So don't rush the process. Take one step at a time. We have all type of source to find knowledge now. In this time of age, don't be worried like what else, if not this sports, what else I have, because we have abundance out here. Just trust the process and take one step at a time.
Nice. And with that, we're going to say trust the process. There's definitely going to be more here on the pursuit of progress. I want to say a big thank you to Duke, my husband, for coming on to share a little more insight. You heard some parts of the house already. And I'm very happy we didn't get into an argument. But yes, thank you so much for joining us on the pursuit of progress. We'll be back again next time. See ya.